Hi, everybody. I am so excited to be here today, joined with a special guest here on Tisha Talks Topics, where we encourage, inspire, and empower women to live their best lives. And I love highlighting women who are taking steps of faith, who are moving out, changing their side hustles to making it a full-time entrepreneur space, and just pursuing those things that they are ultimately passionate about. And so I'm excited to have Kimmel Mayo from the CEO of Katch My Krafts, with us today and sharing her story. And I got a little opportunity to chat with her a little bit beforehand, and just even some of the stuff that she's been talking about has just been so encouraging and inspiring to me. So, Kimmel, I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, and I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to listen.
Hello, Tisha Talks family. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. I'm Kimmel Mayo. Yes, newly owned entrepreneur of CEO Katch My Krafts. We'll get into it, I guess, a little bit about what exactly Katch My Krafts is. And I'm just extremely excited to be here. I would love to give your viewers a little history of us, because I'm just excited. Who would have known 10 years from when we were pursuing our children's career that we met then to now, here it is. 12 years later that we are pursuing our new careers. And so I'm extremely excited for that to come around, and God's continuing to encourage us and inspire us as women to press forward. So I'm honored.
Yes. I definitely know Kimmel from our kids being a part of Special Ensemble, a singing group, and even that kind of opened up in a way that I don't think any of us had anticipated. And it is so interesting. I didn't even make that link or that connection, that we were helping them pursue their gifts and their passions, and now it's kind of like flipped, where we're able to
our turn.
Right. I love that. So tell us a little bit about Katch My Krafts.
Okay, so Katch My Krafts is my new baby. Katch My Krafts is a company that I started a few years ago, but just really gave my full undivided attention to within the last year. And so I make handcrafted pictorial collages, which, matter of fact, I should probably show one to you.
Yes.
I can definitely do that. And so this is something that truly inspired me to start a business. It was a hobby. I love initials. If I turn the screen around, you'll see all the K's that consume my home. My first initial begins with a K. And so I just love initials. I love K's. I love anything personalized. And so I found that for gifts throughout the years, I was finding people's initials and putting photos on them and sending them to individuals as gifts. And the reaction was just so amazing when someone would just open up for one. Anything you give your initial on it, it's always fun and cute,
Right.
You get an L and you're like, oh my gosh. You get oh my God, you get a K. You're like, oh, this is so cute. It could be anything. And so I found that if I throw people's memories, people's photos on there, things that inspired them throughout their years, things that make up their history, and they see it in just a glimpse, a snapshot, something tangible, it just absolutely wowed them. And so I decided to make a business of it. People are like, oh, how much do you charge for these? And I was like literally just making them as gifts. And I'm like, you would give me money for this?
Let's think about this.
And so that was probably the most difficult challenge that I've come across, is knowing my worth within my craft of what to charge, what to value my product as. It's easy when we do it for other companies and corporations. We know we're supposed to do, the checks and balances, the profit and loss. But when it comes to yourself, it's a little different. So
is it definitely, would you find it challenging to take something that is personal to you and then quantify it and be concerned about, I guess, whether people are willing to accept it for that price?
Right, absolutely. And so it wasn't until I began to invest in it. I mean, you know, going back to my previous work and running a college to then now running my own business, it was such a transformation, and understanding the value for myself versus understanding the value of another corporation or a company. You know, we're taught to the mission statement, you know, we're taught the value, we're taught the purpose of the corporation,
Right.
but it's yourself as an entrepreneur, you have to find you have to understand, you have to then believe, you have to have faith in yourself, to know what's going to work best for you, what's your mission statement, you know, what becomes your value and your worth, and then your expenses. You know, a lot of people say, oh, it's so simple, you know, just figure out your expenses and how much you charge per hour, and it's really not that simple, you know. When you come to define exactly what you do and how you do it, you have to separate sometimes that passion with the business, because you need to make sure that you're still balancing out a good fit for yourself and an income that you can survive off of. It wasn't until I found that this was now a necessity for me to do and be hard to say, okay, this is now my price, and, you know, go from there. And when I started just raising the price, there was no issues. You know, I was the one who had the issue. My customers didn't have an issue.
Wow. So I
Yeah.
definitely want to come back to that finding value piece, because even I have struggled with that. But before we go there, can you tell us a little bit about your journey, your progression journey to get to that place where you've actually like stepped out? What was that story like?
So, okay. So, all right, I'm trying to get emotional on here, because, you know, it still sometimes hurts, you know, but I was the director of student success for Everest Institute. And so, well, let me go back a little bit. I was in the fashion industry for over 10, 12 years. My degree is in fashion merchandising and textile designs from Delaware State University. Go Hornets. And so from there, I was in the fashion industry and then transitioned into the field of education. And so from there, just recently, my recent work was Director of Student Success. And so I've been there for 5 years. Absolutely loved my work. It didn't feel like work. For 12 years, I was working with mannequins all my life, right? So I really didn't have to talk much, you know, to people as a merchandiser, you know, here and there, you know, interacting, you know, with the customers and the designers and things like that. But then now going into education, where my goal is to help individuals pursue their career, their dream. The position was just amazing, you know, and at 5 years in, walked into the campus on a Wednesday. There was a third party vendor in my office informing me that it was my last day, as well as my staff, and that we would need to exit the building by 5 p.m.
What? See?
So this is my first time sharing this. So this is definitely an exclusive interview, I guess we'll call it, because I've never spoke of it publicly.
Wow.
So you know, so for those who may see that this will be their first time actually knowing exactly the full story. Of course, a lot of people knew that the corporation had closed abruptly because of for-profit education not being favored by the government. We, you know, will park that. But, you know, not only Everest Institute, which had rebranded to Altiris, a lot of schools were closing, you know, Sanford Brown, a lot of your traditional for-profit schools and career training schools, you know, were just closing back to back to back to back. And so I didn't see it. I think that's what kind of hurt. I had no idea. Being in a director leadership role, you would think that we would have kind of some type of, you know, knowledge of it or intuition of it, something. Had no idea. You know, we had just rebranded the name of the school 3 months prior. So this came out of nowhere. Yeah. It was a complete shock. So to dive into it a little bit deeper, when it came to myself, I will never claim depression, but it saddened me inside because my purpose I'd found outside of, you know, fashion merchandising. I loved that for years. But now having an opportunity to interface and speak with individuals who were, a little bit younger than me. The campus age range was from 20 to 50 within those individuals going for career training. I was able to connect and relate to them. There was something in their past, something in their life that didn't work as planned. And so traditional training, traditional career college was their way out. And so me having the opportunity to run an admissions team and oversee finance to help support them pursue that career, coming home every day was just like, I was the boss. I was, I wasn't boss, but I was, boss lady, like that true verbiage boss, because I was helping someone. And not to put light on myself, but meaning that I really, really, really came home feeling amazing every day, knowing that someone enrolled for school, knowing that someone's financial aid or assistance was approved, knowing that someone started a class, knowing that someone just graduated from a class, knowing that someone just got placed into work. And so to abruptly just be escorted out of the office, it was tough, because my team, the staff, we worked hard, we worked hard to keep those numbers, of good. But then I had to sit back and realize there was nothing more I could have done. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The company was going to close regardless. Right. It wasn't just my campus. It was all campuses, it wasn't just me. So from there, I went through about probably, I would say 60 days of just being home, eating, just finding something else to comfort me. Because for those who are in leadership positions and for those who are even parents, I'll say that when your kids come to you every single day, when they're, mommy, I need this, it brings a sense of joy into your life because they need you. Mm-hmm. I oversaw about 300, 400 students at a time, and they needed me. Mm-hmm. My staff needed me. Mm-hmm. So for that just to be cut where you felt like no one needs me anymore, it was a mental transition. Mm-hmm. It really was. And a lot of people didn't understand that, and why I just wanted to be home and not shoot for work immediately. People didn't understand. And so being the age that I am, I'll say younger, to be in that leadership role at such a young age, it felt devastating to not feel that desire.
Would you say that some of your identity was wrapped up in what you were doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it until I was able to sit still and be home. My home became my sanctuary, Tisha. It became sanctuary because I was able to sit still. I was able to just sit still and figure out what's going on. Why did this happen? And not take it personal. I took it personal. And I had, Kimmel, you can't take this personal. Right. That just goes to show how involved, how engrossed, how passionate I was about helping change people's lives. As corny as that sounds, cliche. Mm-hmm. That's just what it was. It was just helping people actually change their lives and being some type of impact on them. And
sorry.
No,
yeah, I definitely can relate to you. I remember when I was at my old position, I had to process through a lot of not thinking that things happen to me, but that they happen for me. Because otherwise I would still be mad at folks. Like, and just understanding that certain things had to take place to get me where I am today. Yeah. So when would you say you had that turnaround moment?
When I started gaining weight.
That'll do it for you.
Oh my gosh, from running around a campus to being home. And I don't want it to seem as if I was home boo-hooing and sobbing, it wasn't that. It was just reflecting. It was just reflecting and getting to spend time with my family, getting to spend time, with my man and being able to just know that, hey, this is life, you know, when you don't realize that you're not balancing work life. You think you're balancing work life, but you don't realize that you're balancing work life. And being able to just be invested in my daughter, you know, that's when I found that, okay, you can do this. You can do something that you enjoy. Not that I didn't enjoy my previous work, but something that's not so demanding, you know, as well as spending time with your family. You can make it happen. So turn my basement into a workshop. And I said, let's do this, you know, because it was just where I was home. I was looking through some photos that I cleaned out from the campus, looking at some photos. And I said, Kimmel, you know, get into your collages again, you know, get into making your pictorial collages, you know, like really, really, really press forward with it, you know. And it was just at that pivotal moment where I just said, these photos are bringing such joy to my life, you know, just the memories, looking back from the graduations and looking at my daughter grow up. I mean, like right before my eyes, she was a grown woman, you know, and it was just through those photos. I was just, you know, home looking at the photos, and I just said, let's go for it. Let's really, really make this a business. And so I struggled with the name. It wasn't always Katch My Krafts. It was Creative Creations. That was Creative Creations with a K. And so I said, God, speak to me, you know, speak to me. Let me know what will be my brand. What will be a catchy phrase that will be my brand that I can speak highly to, be excited about, and no one will ever forget it. You won't forget Katch My Krafts. You know, you won't forget it. And I struggled with it for a little bit. Got some feedback, from some friends and family, because there was a bunch of names I had. And this was the one. This was the one, and it just spoke to me. So we can talk all day long. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I definitely relate to converting that basement to an office space, and stepping out in that new space and being excited about the new possibilities, right? But then I do know, as an entrepreneur myself, there comes challenges along the way, right? Once you stepped out and you're like, all right, I'm going to do this. And like you said, so I want to go back to that finding value. That has been and still continues to be a struggle for me when you are taking something that you're passionate about, something that you enjoy, something that's like your heart, and then you have to quantify it, and then you're opening it up to maybe possible rejection of that dollar amount that you put to it. How have you worked through that?
So I found that it was necessary for me to still be in a traditional style work. You know, I found that it was important for me to still see other areas of opportunities for me that I loved to do, right? And so that's when I came along and found On Point National Dance Competition. I've always loved to MC. That's another passion of mine. I love to MC. I love to host events. And so I said, okay, I knew I wasn't ready to go back into education. I knew I wasn't ready to go back into education, career training. But I knew that I still wanted to be able to have a steady flow of income coming through,
right,
as well as building my brand. And so I prayed on that. I prayed and prayed and prayed. I said, God, oh, I don't want anyone, or for my own Lord and Savior, to think I'm ungrateful, you know, for anything that He's bestowed upon me. But you want to have a clear vision, a clear mind to go back into a certain realm of work, you know, to produce income. And I said, I still want to branch out. You know, will you afford me the opportunity to still just pursue passions that are inside of me? And a whole nother podcast interview the job with On Point National Dance Competition. But to sum it up really quickly, one of my former employees from Everest Institute, she is good friends with the owner of On Point National Dance Competition. So who would have knew that as I'm online looking for sound MC jobs, I come across on point national dance competition. I applied for the position. I didn't hear back from them. It's like, oh, okay. All right. So I said, well, let me call them. You know, they never received my resume, you know, from the site.
Yeah.
Site. And it's okay. So I called and I spoke with him. I said, okay, well, come on in. You know, don't worry about it. Just come on in. We love to meet with you. It's like, okay, cool. You know. And so just as I'm preparing myself, a few days before the actual interview, I happened to catch up with one of my previous employees. And I was talking with her about the job. Just so happened to be talking with her about the job and me preparing myself. We're catching up on things that we're doing now since the campus is closed. And I just happened to tell her the name of the company. And she says, on point, wait a minute. The dance company? And I was like, yeah, right? I don't know much about it, you know, but yeah. She's like, that's so-and-so. That's her husband's good friend's business.
Oh, wow. Look at God.
So, before I quit, and this is why I always tell people that I come in contact with, I always told my students, never burn your bridges. You never know who you're going to need, who you're going to need to connect with. Just even if it's something that doesn't work out, just don't burn those bridges. You know, always settle something with good intentions, you know. But and so that's how it happened. And so sometimes it is, you know, who you know. But they would have hired me anyway, you know.
Because you're qualified.
Let me put the plug. They would have hired me anyway. Right. But no. So, and that's when I knew that was the right company to go for, because there were other companies I was interviewing for as well for a sound MC position. But I just knew that was the company that, you know, I was going to take care of them. They were going to take care of me. And I was on tour for 6 months with them.
I love that piece of advice that you gave about still looking for something that's going to bring in income, so that it doesn't place the great weight on what you're doing to provide a certain financial piece. And I think I figured that out unintentionally. Like there were other things that I like to do. Like I'm an adjunct professor. And yes, I was teaching. And so that was kind of like going to be my steady. And then I would be building
right.
my business along the way. But then there was like a glitch with that, and that wasn't as frequent. And I'll say that finding value really became a struggle. But then I started doing, like, taking some other clients on other projects that are not necessarily related, you know, to teach dogs. And it has helped. It has helped. So that's something that I just happened to kind of learn along the way. But that finding that value in what you're doing is like, that is a greater struggle than I had ever anticipated it would be.
Yeah.
Definitely. So tell me, or tell us, would you say that has been your greatest challenge? Or is there something else that maybe have challenged you that you didn't expect would challenge you?
As an entrepreneur, believing in my brand. Believing in my brand. That was a challenge that I would say troubled me just a little bit in the very beginning, because it connected back to that income. Knowing how much to charge, knowing my value and my worth, because there was no one to identify it for me. Remember how we spoke about being in a high level position or being in a leadership role? You have this identity, you have this connection with the role that you're serving within a corporation. And so this was my own business. So I had to identify with myself. It was me and paper crafts.
What do you think? Okay, I think that's good too. Like, I have this conversation, I'm in there talking to myself. So that sounds good to you? Okay.
And I'm looking at photos of other people like, okay, hey, what do you think about this? I can't believe I'm telling you this. But yeah. So it was believing in the brand. And it wasn't until I began to educate myself, Tisha, on crafts, on entrepreneurship. business, it wasn't until I began to really educate myself, where we go through training, we go through, modules of training when it comes to being onboarded with a corporation. I had to kind of onboard myself within the role as an entrepreneur, and learning how to partner and learning how to invest, where it would be a return on the investment. It was really a self-taught style learning when it came to crafts, because crafts aren't really like a popular thing, it's not like fashion or shoes, so it's individuals who really like crafts who will then connect with crafts, and or see something where it's attractive, to you, where you then begin to explore someone's craft page. So between that and the marketing, believing in the brand and knowing that it can be just as successful as a clothing, someone's clothing business, or something to that effect. Just believing and knowing that, okay, even though it's this style, don't think that it can't be extremely popular or attractive to a global audience.
Right. I absolutely love that onboarding concept. I really wish somebody would have told me that before. Like, we're so used to, especially if you've been in a 9-to-5, like most of your life, you're so used to being told what to do, or having that job description, or having those trainings for that particular task. And so, like, you understand the ins and outs of exactly what you've been paid to do. But in entrepreneurship, it's like, oh, you need to understand this, and you need to understand this. And so, like, and there's no one telling you anything, and there's no onboarding process for you. You are the process, right? Figure it out somehow. So that educating piece is so essential. It's so essential. And you can, for me, I found not only the education like online or through courses, but by connecting to other entrepreneurs, and being in different support networks where you're able to learn stuff and learn things about this space, which is so different, instead of like talking to the light.
Yeah.
What we're gonna do? What are we recording today on this podcast? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's true. And understanding your market, understanding your market and who to target. That like I said, once again, that's investing in your brand, believing in the brand, to know who to connect with, and not that outsourcing wasn't a good thing to do, but it was like, okay, these pictorial collages can be used in so many different areas, and it wasn't until I really just said, all right, Kimmel, press forward with what you think, or who you think your audience would be. Who do you think your target audience would be? And also, it's knowing who would value the craft itself. Who is the target audience that would value what you're actually making, what you're actually doing? And so it was the funeral homes.
Mm-hmm.
It was the event planners.
Yes.
It was, those who, event planners, party decorators, and it was athletes, sports. It was individuals who are always looking for unique decor, props, in order to do X, Y, and Z. And so that's how it began. It was market, knowing my audience, knowing that.
I'm sorry, I have a question. Do you think that was a hard dig for you? Like, I found that as a hard dig to kind of like really niche down or dig down to see who those people are.
It took time. It took time. It did not come overnight. And a lot of things came by experience. I began making the pictorial collages, like I said, as gifts, but it began when my grandfather passed away. And I wanted to do a really, really unique memorial display for him. And so I had made these huge wooden pictorial collages, and I placed them, near his casket at the funeral. And he loved lemons. So I had floating lemons with flowers. I just did this whole shrine of a display. Everyone loved it. It's like, You know, it's just something I just did. And so I had to think back, you know, and one thing is when you begin to have a solid relationship with God, ah, woo, when you begin to have a solid relationship with God and you hear him talking to you, you hear him speaking to you, you hear him encouraging you, motivating you, knowing scriptures and having a relationship to connect with him through the Bible, that's when things began to happen. When I really sat still, Tisha, and began to have a true relationship with him, those memories would come back. Your grandfather's funeral, you know, your mother's birthday party, you know, all of these events that I was, you know, doing these collages for, but they were just gifts. They were just, you know, memories. They were just memorialized. Sitting still. I can't say it enough. Like when you just sit still and you just think and you begin to have a relationship with your Lord and Savior, your creator, it's amazing what you'll hear.
Right. He always guides you back. You know, he's given you this passion. He's given you this gift. And so he knows what the will of it is. And I love like that, the funeral home, like that to me is like a heaven sent like idea, because I'm sitting here thinking back. So I mean, this past, maybe about the past 2 or 3 months, I've gone to like 2 funerals, and I know that they would absolutely love something like that reminds them of the life of their loved one that they can display. You know what I'm saying? And that just, I was like, that is it. That is that is it. But that is something that you really, like, you won't just know. Like, God really has to reveal that to you. And so, yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
That is good right there. So I think it's a great time if you have one of your collages to show us.
Absolutely. So this here, this is mine. This is the one that I use for display to show.
I love that bling. That is, yes.
Yeah, because I have others that are creative, but the individuals haven't received them yet, so I don't want to show them. This is what it is. It's a pictorial collage, and this stands at 24 inches in height.
Nice.
And so these are just, you know, my photos throughout the years, and you know, we have all letters. Yeah, and so thank you. They can be painted any color, any color that you choose. And they're very lightweight. They're lightweight. They're paper mache. And then I also have wooden letters as well. You know, they're much higher. Okay. I'll show you that real quick.
I love them. They're definitely like standalone pieces. And the fact that they represent something, I think is awesome.
And then, so this here would be, this is a wooden one. So this one does not have pictures on it. It'll be like the natural state, but this one is extremely heavy, and it's about 18 inches. No, I'm sorry. I think this one, I don't know, but yeah. Well, oh no, this one is higher. So 24, probably about 30 inches higher. And so you can also have the wooden ones as well.
Oh, nice. Yep. I love it. I love it. I love the concept. So I just got a couple more questions before we go. So what advice would you give someone looking to make a shift, you know, or looking to do something different? What advice would you give them?
I would give them, the first advice is don't dilute your vision. Don't dilute, don't water down your dream. Have your dream turn into a vision. Have your vision turn into a reality. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So that's what I would say. That's the first thing is understand your concept, understand your brand. And even if you're not sure, have an end goal. You know, what is your end goal? What is your vision? If it's just to make money, if it's to make people happy, if it's sometimes it could be self-rewarding, self-fulfilling, know that. The next thing I would say is be around like-minded individuals.
So important.
Be around individuals, have them in your circle who are pursuing and have achieved already things that you're trying to achieve, goals that you're trying to achieve. Because I found that being around the same individuals who are also entrepreneurs was good, but I also needed to see the success of some entrepreneurs to know this is possible. You can make a complete living off of and be comfortable and sustain with an income that works best for you from your business. So those are the two pieces of advice that I would give, and that's just from my experience. And even though I was fed that information, I was told from a very, very, very good girlfriend, Patricia, that I had to believe it in myself first. I had to believe it in myself first. So those are the two
things. And so my next question is, what have you found most fulfilling about what you do and this choice that you've made, or the choice that was kind of made for you, but you still, had to move forward? What have you found most fulfilling about it?
That I've been able to really reconnect with my friends, have a rewarding, and I'll say rewarding because as parents, sometimes we feel we have a relationship with our kids, because this is what we have. But understanding my daughter, knowing who she's grown to be. There were so many moving parts, when you're in a leadership role. Sometimes you miss things. Sorry. Okay. So, sometimes you miss things. And so just to be able to invest in her, connect with her, guide her, parent and coach her now as the one, my daughter's 21, and coach her. That's been so rewarding. It really, really is. And to actually see her as a young lady now, being able to just observe and just see who she is, and even though they may not admit it, they're a product of us. They're a reflection of us. So I'm really, that has been so fulfilling. It is. And just being able to be appreciated, we'll say identified, I guess, but appreciated for my work and for what I love to do. And so that's been it.
Definitely. I'll say the slowdown is real, okay? Because just yesterday I was journaling and reflecting, and there's so many things in the entrepreneur world that is like up and down, but I'm learning to live in the moments,
right?
And to be thankful. Yesterday I was like, I'm just thankful that I can make my son some breakfast and take him to school and drop, have that conversation with my last daughter that's here, about her side hustle and the things that she's doing. And I'm able to do that in the way that my life was before. In the 9 to 5, it was like, all right, come on, what we doing? Where we going? Like, come on, I drop you off, and missing that stuff, and just learning to appreciate that space that this situation has provided, for me.
Being mentally, physically present, I would say, has been most rewarding. Being mentally and physically present has been so rewarding, over this year. It really, really has. So
So I'm grateful that you came and shared. You gave us an exclusive. But I think it's so important. I think it's so important for people to know, like, things, everybody doesn't just wake up and like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur today and I'm going to like, a lot of things evolve and progress, and our experiences from the things that we've done, I know for me, has really helped me in the area that I'm moving in now. So let us know how we can reach you, where your products are available, all that good stuff, how people can get in contact with you.
So the social media has been a great asset for the business. I am on Facebook and I am on Instagram. So for Instagram, it's at Katch My Krafts, and Katch My Krafts is spelled KATCHMYKRAFTZ. So replace the C with a K. My Krafts. And on Facebook, same thing, Katch My Krafts. And or you can go to my personal page. I opened that as well, and that's Kimmel Mayo, KIMMEL MAYO. So you're more than welcome to connect with me there, and or email me. Just send me a quick email at catchmykrafts@gmail.com. And you're more than welcome to shoot me a quick email on, how to order the products, and we'll go from there and create your pictorial collage.
Yes, y'all, I see these things happening, and I might be reaching out to you for the holidays.
Yeah.
For some things that I think will be excellent gifts. Because there's something about like memories, and there's something about things that aren't just, that you're not just doing, but you're doing with a purpose. And I feel like I'm stepping into the last absolute question I'm about to ask you.
No. Let your viewers know this is water with lemon. I don't want them to. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at, oh gosh, I'm like, no, I drink out of a wine glass. I just want to let your viewers know it's
with her crafts up there, drinking with her crafts.
right.
So I always end every segment with, when passion meets purpose, great things happen. And so I wanted to start asking my guests this particular question to kind of close out our conversation. How has your passion met with your purpose or a purpose?
So my purpose, I have found, is helping people, making people happy, supporting people. I've always done it, whether it was through fashion, whether it was through interpersonal conversations and helping individuals pursue their careers, or now finding that you're reflecting back on your memories with a tangible item to see the joy within your life. I found purpose in that. I truly have found purpose in that, because a lot of photos that are given to me and or I choose off of your social media site are memories that you posted of something good, something that worked in your favor, something that was memorable to you. It's very rare people post things that, that you don't want to remember on social media. Because then now Facebook, they have that memory time, where the timeline comes back, 3 years ago, what you were doing today. And so I found that to be my purpose. It is continuing in a different way, in a different format, being a vessel to not make people happy, but help supporting them to be happy. Because I'll just say, for me, during that 60 days in that time where it just wasn't the most favorable that I thought at that time in my life, transitioning from full-time work to now understanding what will now be my purpose. During that 60 days, if someone would have given me a pictorial collage of all the great memories shared over, the past couple of years, it would have just lifted my spirit instantly. Because it's like, listen, you are grateful. You just don't even realize it. you were privileged. You just don't even realize it, and so that tangible item, really, really speaks to you. And so I found that with creating these, I found my purpose in connecting with others.
I definitely, while you were talking, I definitely felt like you're the memory keeper.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know, you can use a girl, but that's you're the memory keeper. And because one of the things I was going to ask you was like, do we have to supply all of the photos? But just hearing you say that you can pull them, that's like, girl, that is like, I won't be calling you.
You, you know, just like long as I can have access, you know, to your site and even it's funny because even if you order a letter for someone and then I request them, they're like, well, who is this person, you know? But most of the time now on Facebook, you have some type of relation or connection with someone or know someone who knows someone. And so I would say about 75% of my clients allow me to just pull their photos from social media. And I don't know if that's just a gift, you know, from God, but it's amazing how whenever I choose individual photos and they see those photos, they're like, how did you know to pick this one? How did you know to pick that one? And then some I choose where they don't think that would be a great photo on a collage, you know, because it could be like an impromptu photo, you know, where you're, you know, you're looking somewhere else, you know, your tongue's sticking out, you know, you're just like, you know, but that quirky, fun photo in that very moment, think about it. When you were doing something corny or quirky, it probably just gave you the most joy of that entire time, wherever you were, you know, because someone captured that snapshot of you. And then for you to see it, you remember who took it. You remember how you probably said, oh my God, don't ever post that photo, you know, and you posted the photo. And then needless to say, it looks amazing. It looks amazing on a display.
Well, I am so privileged to have this conversation with you. I'm calling you AKA the memory keeper. I'm calling you the memory keeper. I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you. My mom just had a birthday. I know this is not podcast related, but she just had a birthday, and you know, you become challenged with what to give people that have a lot already. But those memories, we so quickly forget things that we've experienced just in life. We so quickly forget them, and a lot of stuff has to always be brought back to our memory. So I am glad that we had this conversation.
Congratulations on Teacher Talks. This is awesome. This is an intimate conversation, and I don't even know if you realize, you know, me speaking about this publicly and just sharing it with you, it's been helpful. It's really been helpful, you know, sometimes to kind of just get things off your chest and just to talk about it and not be ashamed, you know, of it, and to see the turnaround. So thank you for having me. You definitely have made an impact on me today. You really have. I appreciate
you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, guys, I end every episode with a famous saying, but before I get to that, I do want to invite those of you who are interested in connecting with other women that are pursuing purpose, that are pursuing their individual goals and are looking for support and encouragement along the way. We have a private Facebook group called Sisters in Purpose. Feel free to join. There will be a link in the show notes to that as well. There'll also be a link to Camille's information for her product and the memory keeper, AKA the memory keeper. And as always, when passion meets purpose, great things happen. I'll talk to you guys later.